How do you start flipping real estate? That's a great question, and by the end of this video, I want you to be able to look at a property and understand its potential and also know how to do the calculations to see if it makes sense. This video is also great even if you're just considering buying a house so you understand its true potential. Hi, I'm Paul Haley, Toronto realtor, investor, educator, and speaker, and I want to help you learn how to invest in real estate. So what is flipping? What is flipping a house? Flipping a house is where you buy a property, you renovate it, you rehab it, and then you sell it for a profit. So we will get to the calculations, the really exciting part. But first, I want to talk about a property's potential and how you understand what the potential of a property is. So a good way to think about this is when you're driving around a neighborhood and you see this rough property, disheveled, you're like, hey, that would be a great development opportunity. So the next thing you need to do is then look around at all the other houses in that neighborhood and see what they've done. Because if you don't see anything that's been renovated or rehabbed or rebuilt to flip potentially, you know that neighborhood may not be quite ready. So let's just go through a couple of questions you can ask yourself and your realtor. Make sure you're working with an experienced realtor that knows how to flip a property and knows that particular area and what you're looking. So the first question is, how big can you make a unit on this property? So most cities, now the city of Toronto, they have usage sizes, so they'll usually be a percentage. So in Toronto, it ranges from 60 to 100% for residentially zoned properties. And now if you're adding, let's say, an addition on the back, usually you get an extra percentage, usually 9% extra to add on the back, not go up, just so you know. So let's do a quick calculation. Sorry, we're already getting into the numbers. So let's say the lot is 22 feet wide by 135 feet. So you multiply 22 by 135 by 60%. Let's say it's in a zone where it's 60%. That gives you 1,782 square feet. That's, as of right, how much square footage you could build on a property there. So another important question is, how many units can you put in that building? Typically in the city of Toronto, they're mostly zoned for 4, so R4 they call it, so you can put up to 4 units in a property. A laneway suite doesn't count against that 4. This one, which I found was very interesting, was still residential, but it was zoned for some light retail and up to 6 units. That actually makes it really interesting. Then there are special development considerations. So things like, could you add a laneway suite? These are things that are great to know. And one of the things you have to think about when you're thinking about flipping real estate is development charges. So the city of Toronto and other cities normally charge you when you're adding residential units, just so you know. In Toronto, those development charges can be significant, $40,000, $50,000, $60,000, depending on the number of bedrooms, the size of the units, etc. There's also a difference between triplexes, duplexes, and secondary suites. I know people kind of use them interchangeably, but they're actually quite different. A secondary suite, often if you're adding one, doesn't have development charges, and there are also more restrictions on how big those suites can be in comparison to the rest of the property. It's a complicated subject. I'll do another video on that, but just so you're aware. And I do want to talk about, so there's not a subtle difference, there's a big difference between as of right and usage change. Okay, so as of right means you can buy the property and you can do that development and you can just go get the permits. You don't have to go through any process to do that. A usage change is where you're buying a property, you're changing the planning, the way you can use the property, and potentially you can build more. Okay, so now that you understand how to think about the potential, let's dive into the numbers, shall we? Okay, and so let's say we're looking at a property and we're going to make a single family home with a basement apartment and a laneway suite. Now, you start at the end, always in flipping. So you look at how much could I sell that property for in this neighborhood today if it was completed, and a good realtor will be able to tell you that. So yes, in property development, you actually work backwards. You actually start with how much could I sell that for? So let's assume that in this neighborhood you could sell this property for $2 million. So that's your ARV, your after reno value. Now from that, we take off our 20% profit margin, $400,000. Now you're thinking, wow, Paul Haley, that's a lot of money, $400,000. Yeah, it is, but it's also, there's some contingency built in there, right? So the two main things that can go wrong with this project are you don't get your ARV or your costs get overrun too high. And there, you know, there's a probable chance of both of those. So for now, stick to the 20%, okay? It's there to protect you. It's a guideline. I have seen people who try and do projects for less, and that's when they get in trouble. That's when they lose money. So then you take off your closing, selling, and other costs. So, you know, things like land transfer, lawyers, that kind of thing. So in this case, let's assume $100,000. And then you take off your renovation rehab costs. And in this case, let's assume $400,000. Now you should include in that some contingency because things will go wrong in a renovation and it will cost money. It could be small or it could be large, you know, usually 10 to 20% contingency. And then that leads you to a maximum purchase price for this property of $1.1 million. Now, hopefully you get it less than for 1.1, but just know that that's your ceiling, right? So if it goes for more than that, then just don't do it. There's lots of other options. You don't have to buy this property. Okay, so now you got the basics. Now you know how to flip a house. You start with the property potential and you work backwards. That's really what you need to know. The rest we can help you with, we can guide you. Remember, you want to work with an experienced realtor in the area you're buying. It will save you a lot of time, headache, and potential misery. If you like this video, please like it. Leave a comment below so I'll know to make more of this type of content. Please smash that subscribe button so you'll get updated when I release a new video every week. Again, please download the free content below, the investor's guide and the calculator. And if you want to chat real estate, please email me, paul@paulhaley.ca, and we can talk about my favorite subject, real estate. So you're probably thinking, whoa, 20, why can't I say that?